Florida megachurch must sign heterosexual versus homosexual sexuality pledge to stay a member. Calling the sexual revolution a threat to our church, First Baptist Church in Jacksonville will now require congregants to sign a statement affirming their opposition to LGBTQ plus freedoms if they want to remain members. In a video message posted on the church's website, Senior Pastor Heath Lambert said, members will be required to sign a document affirming that people are, quote, either male or female, and that this creation is a fixed matter of human biology, not individual choice, end quote. Lambert also explained in the video that many members of the congregation had struggled with gender and sexuality issues. Lambert told First Coast News that the church publicly expresses what Christians have believed for a couple of thousand years. First Baptist Church has a long history of opposing LGBTQ plus rights, including strenuous opposition to the city's Human Rights Ordinance. The HRO, which prohibited people from being fired or evicted simply because of their sexual identity, did eventually pass after several years. But after an early failed vote in August of 2012, council members who voted against it were honored at a First Baptist church service. Well, this is just the same old tirade from these far-right churches that the minister talks about how church members have struggled with it. And so his response is to make them sign a pledge that they're opposed to it and kick them out of the church if they won't. I'm not a particularly religious person, but that's not what Jesus would do.
Yeah.
And it's really a shame because we do see some of these churches, making steps forward. We were just talking about, the Pope's comments, and, some of these other churches are just digging their heels deeper and deeper. And I think in Florida, the governor is giving them full license to do this. And,
and you read the story and you're like, come on, who would sign this, right? You're like, who would sign this? But there's plenty of people that would sign it without thinking twice, And it takes me back to that cult, Scientology, right? Where they make you sign the million-year contract with them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, come on, when somebody comes to me with a contract from church, I'm running the other way.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to sign it in pink. Big lesbo, bitch. Sign fake.
It's all about faith and your faith in God. And this is just like, it's so antithetical to what that
is supposed to represent. Yeah.
I always wonder, I really do. I always wonder how man has the audacity to speak on behalf of the Almighty.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always in wonder when I hear men of God speaking and preaching hate or preaching discrimination or preaching judgment. And how is it that any Christian in their right mind would be able to claim they have the Word of God and that they are the Word of God? If you truly believe in an Almighty, wherever you come from, if that's your belief, how can you believe then that if you're serving an Almighty, how is it that then you believe that you are the Almighty speaking the Word?
Right.
So I just think that this whole situation is constantly arena of confusion, and somebody needs to turn the lights on for these people and snap them out of their ignorant stupor.
Are they going to do that? Is the light going to turn on and they're coming out of their ignorant stupor?
Probably not.
So,
probably not.
So the issue, it's antithetical to the Bible.
Yeah.
They live in the Bible, and there's countless stories in the Bible of Christian doctrine, faith, Jesus, disciple, of even what the Jewish faith said in terms of acceptance of Jesus and the preaching in the Bible and their rejection from the top leadership in church. There's story after story after story in the Bible. That's exactly what the First Baptist Church in Jacksonville is doing. They're telling the same biblical story and removing that rabbi or the church faith in opposing Jesus. They're doing the exact same thing in Jacksonville, and they're justifying it for a completely different reason, which I think is interesting. It's very important for us to recognize why this story is important. It is important because the crazy church, I don't even say their name anymore, in Kansas, the family of what they did and what they went through. There was 67 people in that church, 67 in the congregants of that church, mostly family members, and they were radical batshit crazy. Even what you would say Jerry Falwell has built in terms of Liberty University and the fall of his son and what we've watched in the new documentary, that the radicalness of the really hardcore evangelical are radical. The First Baptist Church is a mainstream major megachurch in Jacksonville. This story is cautionary to dangerous, depending on how you interpret it, because of the sheer size of what they represent in the city. At the end of the day, they're going to fail. I have no doubt about it. I want to say his name again, Lambert. He is going to fail requiring a pledge like this because first, probably at least 35%, we've reported at Queer News Tonight that more than 50% of evangelicals support LGBT rights and privilege and even marriage. The majority of evangelicals support LGBTQ community. Whether they define it as a sinful act is a completely separate issue. He elevates this purity pledge to a level that even his own congregation won't do. And so what does he force them to? Sign it. Lie. Thou shalt not lie as a principal commandment. And here we are. I'm going to force you to lie because you don't believe this. And even worse, there are many, many people at the First Baptist Church in Jacksonville that I know are completely advocate supports of our community and stand up for us and have to do something. That this pastor is asking them to do that they don't support, but they want to stay a member as a congregate of the First Baptist Church. And the proof of this is where the First Baptist Church is and evangelical churches in America of where they are in 2023 versus where they were in 2013. Right. Over the last 10 years, their numbers have decreased by 25%. They are not growing. Radical right-wing evangelical Christianity in America, especially the Southern Baptist Convention, is not a growing business. Right. It is not a growing religion. And this is one of the major reasons why you're batshit crazy. Right. And you're asking everybody to come along with you in your batshit craziness. And more and more and more people say, no, I won't do it. Right. And that's the problem Governor Ron DeSantis has. He can sell it, and he can sell it, and he can sell it. He may have some success. He is having success. Right. But at the end of the day, he can't keep it up. Right. Because there are going to be fair-minded people that go, what the hell are you doing? Yeah. I'm not signing the sexuality purity pledge. Yeah. Right.
Oh, boy.
It's going to fail.
Well, we'll carry on, and we will.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.